All right, the Democratic National Convention is now over, and Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee for president. Now, this convention seemed to plagued by ongoing email scandals. So this morning we have Ryan Salzman from NKU to talk about the week in Philadelphia. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So glad you could join us. You know, we talked before about the RNC and about what this could be for Philadelphia for the DNC. What did you think when you compared them both? They were very different.
They were very different. And, you know, we talked about this on Sunday, that the DNC had the star power when it came to political conferences, conventions, and that came through. The Wednesday night in particular really stood out to me, that you had Bloomberg giving his "I'm a Republican and I cannot support Donald Trump" position. Joe Biden gave a great speech. Obama, of course, gave a great speech, and it was really a great night. And then you have that in contrast to the Wednesday night of the RNC with Ted Cruz getting booed. And so I think that if a convention could win, the DNC probably won this round anyway.
No big disruptions like we saw with the Ted Cruz thing there.
Right. Well, you did have Bernie Sanders supporters persistently throughout, I think, advocating and pushing, probably even more so than the Never Trump people did. That is, the Never Trump after Monday, it kind of died away. There were protests continually. There were Bernie supporters continually trying to interrupt speeches. But as we talked about before this broadcast, I think that they drifted more towards issues than an individual. That is, they were really big. This is their opportunity to push against TPP. This is their opportunity to bring up income inequality. This is their opportunity to talk about Black Lives Matter. And that's really what they keyed on.
Absolutely. And speaking of Bernie Sanders supporters there, do you think that Hillary gained some of those supporters that she wants during her acceptance speech there? Because you heard her say, "I heard you, your cause is our cause." Do you think that that's going to flip any Bernie Sanders supporters, the ones who are like Bernie or bust?
Well, you know, the Hillary speech, maybe not. The other speeches probably had more of an effect than the Hillary speech did on Bernie supporters. Bernie supporters, they were either ready to come in line or they weren't. But Donald Trump, he's the wild card. And how long will those supporters be able to flip to Hillary before Donald Trump says, "Well, I don't want you anyway," in which case the other Bernie supporters say, "Fine, if you don't want me, then I'm out of here." And, you know, they're very particular in the issues that they support and also in the alternatives that they would support. It's usually Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate, or Hillary. There's no just anybody but Hillary like the Never Trump crowd.
It'll be interesting to see how this pans out for sure. I want to talk about the tone of both conventions, because we watched the RNC last week and they talked about, it was midnight in America. And then in the DNC, it was more so a hope or a, you know, looking for the optimistic kind of side of things. What was your take on those kinds of things and how it'll affect people who are watching?
Well, they both conventions keyed on fear, but in a very different way. The RNC was about you should be afraid of foreigners, you should be afraid domestically, you should be afraid of this, that, and the other. Whereas for the Democrats, it was positive with one exception. You should be afraid of Donald Trump. And so they both did key on fear, but you're right. And I think that the DNC being after the RNC was kind of significant for that narrative to say, we're not a nation in disrepair. Nobody is challenging us, and it really worked out well for the Democrats that they got to go second and be able to say, don't listen to them. You know, don't buy this bill of goods that the Republicans are trying to sell you. We are a great country, and our great days are ahead of us. So again, back to the DNC probably did a little better job, and people are going to always be more receptive to the positive outlook and the positive pitch.
Ryan, we always love when your insight comes in. Really, really good information to hear. We both heard, of course, that the conventions, both of them have bumped both candidates up in the polls. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, I want to check back in with